builders, parents, and collectors. On this episode of Makimao Monday, here at the Creation Evaluation Station, I will be evaluating this little guy here. It's a really small model kit. They are called Gundam artifacts. As you can see here, they're all one solid color. This is going to be something different I'm curious about. But before I get into it any further, I just want to let new viewers know that I do in-depth reviews of models and construction kits, both new and old, mostly Lego, but other products as well. I also do reviews and discussions of other creative works such as movies, video games, and animation. Because they're in-depth reviews, they can be on the long side, although this is a little small guy. So make sure you're using the timestamps that are embedded here in this red line or in the description to jump around to your favorite part or to use as bookmarks to come back to at a later date. So yeah, these are interesting. They're quite small, and I was looking them up. So these are originally gachapon sets, and that means that they were in capsules that you had to pay for, and you would get a random one. Luckily here in the US you can get whichever one you want without having to guess. This is what they look like on the back. This is from the very first wave of these. There's been several others since these. This is the first wave, and this is number 3, the one right here in the middle of that wave. These are, I'm not saying I'm super excited about this. I'm more curious. Obviously, when you get these put together, they're going to require a lot of paint. But we're gonna check them out and see what they're like. Oh, I want to say I got it for $10 there. I think because I've picked them up at 2 places. I've picked them up Hobby Lobby, and I've also picked them up at Barnes & Nobles. So I got them either those places, but I've actually seen them online for cheaper than $10. So these aren't really super expensive kits, but they're also not large kits either. So let's go crack her open and see what these things look like on the inside and put it together. Let's see what's inside these boxes. I must say the artwork here on the box is rather nice. Now these are nowhere near as easy to open up as regular model kits. I ended up doing the hard work off screen here, but pretty much have to rip that off, which is glued on, and then this comes out, opens up easily. So let's see what we got in here. Alright, we've got several runners, all look the same. We got numbers on them. There's 2, that has 2 in it. Although they all have number 2 on it. So we got 4 runners, 1 small one. Then our instructions here is, wow, just a single sheet of paper. So this will be interesting. Let's pop those out of their bags and take a closer look at what we got. Now these are quite a bit different. Like they don't seem to have any numbers or letters on them to signify the difference between them. Come on, focus. This one's got something on it. But nothing written on it. It's just got a little tab there. Okay, well, I don't know. They are all numbered, but individual runners are not. So this is going to be interesting. We definitely got some really small pieces on this, but it's a small kit. I don't know what kind of scale you'd call it, but let's go put it together and see how it turns out. Here we have the not High New Gundam. Yes, this is not the High New Gundam. I'm not really happy about this, but the Gundam that is on the front here is not what's inside. And you probably realized that when I looked at the parts and the contents of the box. And I also realized it says it right there on the top. But the picture on the front is the wrong model as well, which is what I was focused on. It's showing this one here. Actually, it's this one here. So, we'll judge by that. I won't mark that against it. That is something that probably got messed up with packaging here in the US, since these were packaged differently in for the US market, since these are supposed to be gachapon kits. But anyways, getting back to the kit, that is not the Hainu. Yes, it's a little bit unsturdy, which is why it fell off there. And taking a closer look in there, it definitely has some nice detail to it, but there's a couple issues here. And for starters, well, normally I talk about posability, but these are not posable. They're not meant to be posable, although there is some movement in the arms, just a little bit. But there's also this jiggly stuff going on here with these side pauldrons. I'm not sure if they're supposed to be pauldrons or some kind of fuel pods. I'm not familiar with this Gundam at all, fortunately. But yes, did I tell you? Yes, it's actually the Ex-S. Yes, this is definitely a very detailed model. It's got some weird gaping holes here, and these jiggle around a bit, which I don't like that. Another problem is pieces fall off easily, such as these. So you're going to need some glue. These like to fall off a lot. They go on the back here. And another thing, which you can't be aware of now, because I have glued on the top of his head where the V-pin is, because that piece would not go on at all. It just didn't connect, it didn't stick into anything. So that needed glue, and you're probably going to use a bit of glue for these other parts. These are supposed to be a snap build kit, but you probably are going to want some glue for any long run sticking together. And then if you want to paint it even more, because it definitely needs paint, this color, I tell you what, this color scheme reminds me of muscle figures, if anybody knows who they are, what they are from the 80s, or their Japanese name, which I don't recall off the top of my head. But yeah, there were a bunch of wrestling figures, and at least the first wave was all this kind of off-white color, I guess you would call it. But these are a little bit larger than those, but just the same, it reminds me of them. Let's head back to the desk to give this a final evaluation. Time for my final thoughts on this, and a quick evaluation. I'm not happy with this at all. For starters, I didn't get the Gundam I thought I was getting from the cover of the box. I'm going to try not to hold that against it, but that is a negative to me. If you're aware of what you're getting, you might be okay in that aspect. So there's that. Then there's just the overall build. It was difficult to build. There are pieces that are, and it's not just because they're small pieces. There are small pieces, but they're small pieces in Gundams all the time. Part of the problem is there were like multiple small pieces that you had to hold in position while you sandwich them into between two other parts. And I've done this before, but the parts that are bigger. The parts were so small they were very hard to get precisely lined up, and that made things difficult. Two, you got parts that just won't stay on. There's some that just fall off, and then like the headpiece that I had to glue on, you had to glue it on. This is not supposed to be a glue model. Now that being said, it does look, for the most part, pretty good. It's got a lot of detail and stuff like that. The worst part is the fact that you have these gaping holes in here, but the wings kind of cover that up. Now, I don't know if other ones in the series have the same problem. This is the first series that came out, and there's been more since, so they may have improved a lot of these things. But we're just talking about this one here. Um, and yes, it's a bit back heavy, plus the fact that I don't exactly have a perfectly level thing here, so I have some tape here, a tape roll, just keeping it from falling over, although I bumped it and knocked it over just the same. Now, so yeah, now it doesn't do much. It's supposed to be a stationary model. It's not going to hold that against it, but there are a little bit of posability in the arms. I think that's intentional. I don't know about all these jiggling parts up here. This seems excessive. I don't like it at all. And I mean, if it's stationary and not moving, you won't notice them jiggling, but still, I just don't get what's going on here. I mean, this is Bandai, I think. This almost feels like Bandai's B team created these. Meanwhile, their A team making the wonderful, beautiful Gundams that I do enjoy. The overall design of the Gundam looks okay. Like I said, there's some poor design choices here why these are hollow and loose. It almost feels like they're kind of like afterthoughts that were put on. These weren't originally part of the original model, almost. I'm not sure. It's a very, very strange thing. But yeah, I'm not the happiest with this thing. Overall, my final eval score I gave to this ended up being a 7. And if you want this to look really good, of course, you can paint it. That's going to require a lot, but you're going to have to glue things. And there's not really much in the way of seam lines, but there's a lot of other cleanup stuff you got to do. I mean, what are you going to do with these giant gaps in the top of it? Oh boy. Oh yeah, and there's some other parts. Well, I talked about glue already that are loose and you probably want to glue on. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this. My final evals, giving us a 7, and I don't even know. I feel like I should give it a lower score than that, but I'm trying also not to be biased by the fact that I got the wrong model kit than I was expecting inside the box. And like I said, that's partially probably from it being repackaged here in the US. They used the wrong imaging on the front of the box, even though other parts of the box did show the right one. So I'm trying not to be biased about that, but I might also be giving it too high a grade. I don't know. I'm not happy with this, as you can tell. Let me know down in the description if you have put any of these together and what you think of them. I think this is the only one I have, but I'm not sure. Something tells me I have another one of these, but I'm really not sure. I haven't found it yet if I have. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. And if you enjoyed this video, whether you're happy with this model kit or not, please give it a like. And if you enjoyed the video and want to see more of my content, which they're not always as bad, the model kits anyways, hit that sub button and hit the bell for notifications. I also have links down in the description for Twitter and Facebook, because I put notifications on there, and they tend to be faster, come out faster than YouTube's. And there's also a Patreon if you want to help out more directly, but anything you do is greatly appreciated. Just interacting with the video is very much appreciated. And that's it for me here at the Creation Evaluation Station. I promise next week, or at least I hope, we have a better model to put together. And also the video will come out sooner. I know this is really late, but yeah, I'm going to be signing off here, reminding you that creativity is key.